I was on duty the night the oil started moving, not pumping, not flowing, not leaking, moving. If you think oil is just dead black liquid that sits underground until we pull it out, you are wrong. I was Osage Tribal Police for 5 years before that night. I grew up on this land. I know the stories, the ones we pretend are just for kids. I thought I knew what to be afraid of: drunk drivers, meth heads, poachers, not the ground itself. Now whenever you fill your gas tank, I want you to remember what I am about to tell you, and ask yourself how sure you are that it stopped being alive when we pulled it out. My name is Daniel. I work tribal police for the Osage Nation. My job is simple on paper: keep the peace on our land, keep an eye on the wells, the leases, the people who come out here at night thinking no one is watching. You deal with a lot of ugly things in this job, but at least they usually have a face and a record. This started on a Tuesday around 2:30 in the morning. I was parked off a service road near one of the older pump sites, just a forest of nodding donkeys silhouetted against a starless sky. The air smelled like dust and old metal, and that faint sour tank of crude oil. I had the engine off, window cracked, radio low. Trying not to fall asleep, dispatch crackled in my ear. Unit 3, we got movement sensors tripping at Red Hawk 32 again. Cameras are giving us white static. You close enough to swing by. Red Hawk 32 is one of our oldest wells, the kind the elders shake their heads at when they drive past and say all that blood money, and no one ever asked what was down there before the oil. My grandma used to talk like that. I never listened. I told dispatch I was 10 minutes out, fired up the truck, and rolled down the dirt road. The closer I got, the more wrong the air felt. The wind died like someone turned it off. The hum of the pumps faded one by one until it was just my tires on gravel and my heartbeat in my ears when I killed the engine. At the fence line, the quiet hit me so hard my ears rang. 32 pump heads stood like black iron birds frozen mid-peck. None of them were moving, no creak, no clank, no motor noise. At all that should not happen if power goes out. We know if a breaker trips, we get an alert. These wells do not all just decide to take a break together at 2:40 in the morning. I stepped out, flashlight in one hand, other on my sidearm, more out of habit than anything. The soil under my boots felt soft, like it had just rained, but it had been dry for a week. I played the beam across the nearest pump, and that is when I saw the oil. It was not in the pipe, it was on the ground, a long smear of it, like something had poured and then changed its mind halfway. A puddle about 3 feet across sat between two of the pump bases, thick, black, shiny. That part was normal. Part that was not normal was that it was breathing. I know how that sounds, but I watched it. I saw the surface swell up like a chest, drawing in air, then sink down slow with a wet, sticky sigh. It did it again and again, a slow, steady rhythm, like sleep. For a second, I thought it was heat haze. Some reflection tricked my brain, grabbing the closest excuse it could find. I took a step closer to the smell. Hit me like a wall. It was not just oil, it was something older, rotten earth and metal, and something sweet underneath, like flowers left too long in standing water. My radio hissed in my ear. Unit 3 status check, you on site. I did not take my eyes off that puddle. When I answered, yeah, I am here, all pumps are down, I got what looks like a spill around. 32, but listen, do we have any maintenance out here tonight? Negative, came dispatch, no crews scheduled. Is there a leak? I opened my mouth to say yeah, and then the puddle moved. Not the breathing, the whole thing. It pulled itself together like a muscle clenching. The edges drew inward, forming a cleaner circle. Then a tendril of it rose from the center, dragging a long black string up out of itself like tar coming off a stick, except there was no stick, just empty air. The strand hung there, wobbling, then split into 3 thinner ones that stretched toward my every instinct. I had screamed a backup hand on my gun like a bullet would. Mean anything to this? I took 2 steps away. The tendrils followed, rising higher, turning toward the sound of my boots. I knew where I was. If you ever had a nightmare where the dark is not just around you, it is interested in you, that is what it felt. Like standing there, wanted by that thing. Something old woke up when we drilled this land. My grandma had said once when I was a kid, not everything down there is rock and bone. Some of it is memory, and some of it can drown you without water. I used to think she meant greed. The 3 black strands twisted together, reaching up maybe 4 feet now. The top of it bulged, then stretched, and for 1/6 second, it looked like a face pushing. Against thick glass, no features, just the impression of eyes and an open mouth trying to remember how to be a mouth. My radio spat again. Unit 3, we are seeing surge spikes on your grid. Cameras just came back and then cut out. What is going on out there? I forced myself to speak. I kept my voice level. Even though my lungs did not want to cooperate, Red Hawk 32 is offline. I said all pumps. I got a substance on the ground, moving on its own. I need you to kill power to this whole block and lock out any remote restart. There was a long pause. Daniel came the reply, and it was not dispatch this time. It was Chief Gray, his voice low and tight. Step away from the well right now. Get back in your truck and do not look at Idy. Had never heard him talk like that before. I started to back up slow. Keeping the flashlight on the thing, the oil recoiled from the light, shrinking down like it burned. Whatever that shape was, it flattened back into a quivering pool, but it did not go still. It was faster now, breathing in short, sharp jerks like it was angry. The earth under my feet vibrated just enough to notice a low groan came up from somewhere deep below us. Not metal, not machinery. It's more like a throat clearing after a very long sleep all around me. The other pumps shuddered. The pipes creaked. A few loose bolts rattled on their brackets. It felt like the entire field was taking one long stretching breath with that puddle at the center like a heart. That was when I did something I am not proud of. I ran. I turned my back on it and ran for the truck keys, fumbled hands shaking not from cold. I heard a wet sliding sound behind me like something dragging, fingers through mud, but I did not look. I slammed the door, started the engine, and threw it in reverse gravel, spitting under the tires. By the time I hit the main road, the hum came back, pump motors whining to life on their own even though Chief had said he would cut power. Back in the side mirror, the field was just a dark silhouette again, all the donkeys nodding in perfect rhythm. Like nothing had happened later in the briefing room when I told them exactly what I just told you. Most of the room went quiet. Some of the older officers would not meet my eyes. Chief Gray just rubbed the bridge of his nose and said the old people. Said the oil was not ours, that it was not just money in the ground. They said if we kept poking at it long enough, we would hit something that remembered when it was worshipped. He looked at me then real hard. You saw it, remember you. That is the part that matters. I still patrol that area. I still write my reports. I still fill my tank like everyone else. But now when I stand on Osage land and smell the drills working, I listen beneath the pumps and engines and wind, because every now and then, if the night is calm enough, I can hear something else moving down there, slowly, patiently, and I know one night it is going to decide breathing is not enough anymore.